The road was long, uneven, and filled with tiny stones. Each push of the wheels brought a squeak that echoed into the morning air. His hands were calloused, his arms tired before the school bell ever rang. The rust on the chair flaked off like old paint with every jolt. Children on bicycles passed him, some with curious glances, others silent. He kept his eyes forward, not out of pride, but out of habit. The school was still half a mile away, and his breath already came in puffs of dust. He reached the school gate just as the final bell rang. His shirt clung to his back, soaked in effort, not sweat alone. A group of kids played tag nearby, their shoes kicking up dirt. He waited for them to clear before entering the yard. One child looked at him, then at the chair, and quickly looked away. He didn't mind. Not anymore. This wasn't a race he could join, but at least he still showed up. His desk was by the window, by request, not preference. From there, he could see the road he had traveled. The lessons floated past him some days, letters and numbers blurred by fatigue. His hands still tingled from the push to school. The teacher didn't ask questions. She knew he listened better in silence. He watched a bird land on the windowsill and envied the ease of its flight. Not because he wanted wings, but because it never had to push through gravel. That afternoon, a visitor stood beneath the shade of a palm. He was not from the village, his clothes too new, shoes too clean. The boy passed slowly, head down, arms straining. The squeal of rusted wheels sliced through the still heat. The visitor lifted his camera, but hesitated. Then he took the shot, not as a stranger, but as a witness. Behind the lens, his heart ached more than his shutter clicked. The photo traveled faster than the boy ever could. It spread across timelines and borders, collecting hearts and questions. Who is he? Where is this? How can we help? In a quiet office in Kuwait, someone paused mid-scroll. They zoomed in on the boy's face, sweat, focus, quiet pain. Then they called a meeting. "We need to find him," they said, "and we need to do it fast." "They're asking about the boy in the photo," the elder said. Phone pressed tightly to his ear. The mother held her breath. Standing still beside the cracked doorway, "They want to send a new chair, and more, from Kuwait," he added. The father exhaled, slow and stunned. "For our son?" The elder nodded. "For his strength, for what he endures." "Yes." The boy watched from the corner, unsure what any of it meant. But for the first time, someone had said the word help and meant it. The clinic smelled of alcohol wipes and clean walls. He sat nervously as hands moved around him. Gentle, careful, unfamiliar. "We're assessing everything," the therapist said softly. "We want to make sure the new chair fits him perfectly." He didn't speak, but held tightly to his mother's hand. X-rays buzzed, measurements were scribbled, photos taken. Every motion felt like a question finally being answered, and all he had to do was sit and be seen. In a factory far from dust and sun, careful hands worked on something special. The frame was smooth, the wheels spotless, the structure light but strong. A blueprint on the table had one name written on top, his. The technician paused, then added a small blue ribbon to the armrest. "Every wheel tells a story," he said. "Let this one move freely." The Kim swore. It was no longer just equipment, it was a promise on wheels. The dust rose as the truck pulled in, bigger than anything the road had seen. Children chased its shadow, shouting and laughing. A large box was carefully lowered, marked with his name and a charity logo. Neighbors whispered, eyes wide. For the boy with the old chair? She stood behind the doorway, peeking out, heart pounding. It wasn't a dream. It was a delivery of dignity. He didn't know how to feel, so he just kept breathing. slowly. The moment he sat down, everything changed. No squeaks, no wobble, no rust digging into his hands. The chair moved with ease, as if it knew what he needed. "Try a turn," the volunteer said, stepping back. He moved left, then right, then forward, all without pain. His mother covered her mouth, holding back tears. His father nodded silently, arms crossed tight, eyes shimmering. He didn't speak. His smile did enough talking for all of them. The school gate looked the same, but everything felt different. He rolled in smoothly, almost gliding over the once rough ground. Children turned to look, this time not in pity, but with admiration. "Is that new?" one whispered. He nodded, eyes forward, posture proud. No more squeaks, no more dragging wheels, just freedom and the hum of smooth motion beneath him. He raised his hand before the question was even finished. The teacher smiled, half surprised, half proud. "Yes?" she asked. "It's the Nile," he said firmly. Heads turned. He had never spoken so quickly before. The wheelchair sat beside his desk, silent but powerful. Confidence was no longer a visitor. It lived with him now, and it spoke through every word he dared to say. The ramp looked steep, but he didn't hesitate. With each turn, his arms grew stronger, movements sharper. "Balance with your core, there you go," the trainer called out. He laughed, actually laughed, as he maneuvered the curve. Each success made the room feel warmer. This was more than practice. It was progress. Every muscle that once only struggled now moved with purpose. The crayons moved quickly, filling the page with lines of hope. He drew wheels with wings, engines made of light, a path in the sky. "What's this?" a classmate asked. "It's my next chair," he said with a grin. The boy in the drawing soared above buildings, clouds curling behind him. A future imagined, sketched into reality, one stroke at a time. He didn't want to escape. He wanted to explore. The stars blinked down quietly, watching him watch them. The chair sat beside him, now just part of the background, not the whole story. He didn't need to move to feel motion. His mind was full of it. He whispered to the sky, "Thank you, dear César, for the chair, for the help, for the chance to grow beyond survival." Some journeys happen in silence, but they still echo. And this one had only just begun. He rolled down the village path, no longer slow or cautious. Children ran beside him, chatting, laughing. "Can I ride with you?" one asked, giggling. He smiled. "Only if you help push uphill." Yee. The rust had faded, not just from metal, but from perception. Now, they saw him not as the boy with a broken chair. They saw him as strong, moving, whole. The banner behind him read, "Dreams roll forward. Deri. Tai. Pabos." He held up his drawing, the wheelchair with wings. "This is what I felt like when my new chair arrived," he said softly. The crowd was silent, then someone clapped. Soon the whole school joined in. "It's not just about rolling," he added. "It's about where you roll to. Yin and see." And he rolled off stage with more applause than he'd ever heard in his life. A bulletin board overflowed with thank you letters and drawings. At the center, a photo of the boy, smiling, rolling through sunlight. Underneath it, his words, "You changed more than my wheels. You changed my world." "Yeri, we should do this again," said one team member. Not just for him, for all the others still pushing on rust. A quiet agreement filled the room like warmth. The story had rolled far, and it was still moving. The old wheelchair leaned against the wall, no longer needed, but never forgotten. He showed two younger boys how to adjust a loose bolt. "This is where the brakes go bad first," he explained. They listened, wide-eyed, learning not just repair, but pride. He didn't keep the knowledge. He shared it like sunlight. What had once held him back was now a tool to lift others. The past was not erased, but transformed. The hill rose ahead, steeper than ever. But he didn't slow down. His arms moved with rhythm, practice, and power combined. The sunset framed his silhouette like a painting of resilience. No one pushed him now. He didn't need help this time. The chair was still there, but it wasn't the story anymore. He was, and he was still rolling. No rust, only rise.